So as promised, I'm going to be showing you guys every single assist and turnover from Caitlin Clark in their last game against the Atlanta Dream. I'm going to go over every single one of them, and then I'm going to tell you if I think it was a good turnover, a bad turnover, and I'll break down every single play and kind of tell you where the whole play went wrong. So as I did in my last video, I'm just going to kind of go down the line of when these plays happened in the game, and Caitlin Clark happened to have 2 assists before she had her first turnover, so he'll start with her first assist. Now this play I did show in my last video. Kelsey Mitchell is cutting, and we've talked about that a lot on this channel. When she cuts, good things happen. Caitlin Clark is going to find her. Kelsey Mitchell is a very fast player, so you want to see her cut, and you also want to see some of what I talked about in my last video, her benefiting from the fact that Caitlin Clark is drawing attention, and that'll show more in this next play. Now this next play, Caitlin Clark does get double teamed on that right wing. Kelsey Mitchell makes her way to the top of the key to where off the double team, the Indiana Fever benefit by finding that open player. There's always going to be a cavity of some sort or an opening of some sort when you double team Caitlin Clark. It has to be. And this time it was a good recognition by Kelsey Mitchell to realize that it could be her. Now this next play was initially a turnover on Caitlin Clark, but now it's not actually a turnover on Caitlin Clark. It got waved off. So this is a turnover on Kelsey Mitchell because she literally just does not catch the ball. I'm glad, the play-by-play ended up changing that, and the team in the back or whatever, whoever's doing this, because this is like, you can't blame Caitlin for that. She literally had an on-the-money pass, and they're calling that a turnover. I'm glad they changed it, so that's a turnover on Kelsey Mitchell and not on Caitlin Clark. But sadly, there's more plays like this in the game where they don't catch the ball, and yet Caitlin Clark gets awarded with a turnover, so we'll get to those. Now, this next play, the defense made a gamble that they thought really wasn't a gamble because they probably didn't think anybody would be able to make that pass. But Caitlin Clark can make that pass, that long skip pass. And look, the three-point shooters, they're making three-point shots. If Caitlin Clark throws you a dime like that, you'd ought to make the shot. What a beautiful play. What a beautiful pass, man. That's a Steve Nash type of pass right there, man. Caitlin Clark is really, really, really amazing when it comes to playmaking. Now, this next play is another turnover on Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell just does not catch the ball again. If you look really closely, and I might slow it down for you guys, the ball literally seems to hit Kelsey Mitchell in the face. I don't know. I think she's just running. Like her hands aren't really out trying to get the ball. I don't know what is happening here, but I think that pass was on the money. The ball just hits Kelsey Mitchell and just ricochets. And personally, I'm going to go ahead and say that this was a good turnover, at least from Caitlin Clark's perspective. That was a good pass, and I think the fact that they didn't capitalize on it has nothing to do with the fact that she should have made the pass. And in the future, I would expect her to make that pass again. So, you know what? That's a good pass. I think that's a good turnover, and it wasn't something that was a stupid play or a stupid, look. Now, in this play, the defense makes another gamble, and this one is actually a gamble because, you know what, Katie Lou Samuelson is not that far from Caitlin Clark at this point, so I don't know why they left her open, especially it being Katie Lou Samuelson. Did they not know she can shoot the freaking basketball? She's like the best catch-and-shoot player on this team besides Caitlin Clark right now, so it's really, really good to see her get a shot off. And for Caitlin Clark, that was an amazing pass. She found the open shooter once again. Now, this next play is a good look and a good play. It's just a miscommunication and a good defender. She got her hand in the cookie jar, and she just took the ball. I think that was really a good pass. It was a good look. Nalissa Smith knew where she was going. Caitlin Clark knew where she was going. I would say, though, I would have liked if Nalissa Smith kind of would have posted up there, caught the ball, and then took a couple dribbles instead of running continuously to the paint, because she's a one-on-one player. We know that about Nalissa Smith, but she's at her best when she's doing one-on-ones. So if she would have put her hand into the defender's body and kind of did a little post-up to catch the ball, I think that would have prevented the turnover, and I also think that would have been a better look for her. Either way, that pass did not have to be made by Caitlin Clark, but I think it was a good look, so I'm going to say it was a good turnover because, when that does not happen, when the defender does not get that steal, and it's a little bit more of communication between Caitlin Clark and Nalissa Smith, that is a highlight reel pass. Now, this next play is another turnover, and I cannot tell if it was a miscommunication or an off-the-target pass. Hey, Future Carter speaking here. I did not realize that the defender got her hands on the ball in this play, so disregard whatever I was about to say and on to the next play. Now, this next play is the first bad turnover I've seen because it's a traveling violation, and Caitlin Clark should have just went up with the ball, in my opinion. She would have got fouled because of how the defender was defending her. I don't know why she jumped. Like, that was random. I don't really know what happened in that play, but she should just went up with the ball. Cause I think if she would have went up and the refs actually called the correct call, it would have been a foul. But there's no foul because she jumped up and down. So anyway, on to the next. Now, this next play is a question turnover. I don't know if anybody watching the game knows what happened because I watched the game and I don't know what happened. Apparently, it was a turnover on Caitlin Clark, but, the WNBA is so foolish that they were showing us clips of the players that we do not know on the bench. clapping instead of showing us the actual play, so we did not get to see the turnover. The game is on, man. Show us the game, man. This is not why I bought the league pass. I didn't buy the league pass to watch random players clap on the bench. Show me the game. You know what I mean? Show me the game. I don't know what's going on here, but I do not know what happened. I don't know what happens there, but I assume it was an off the target pass, or maybe, the defender got their hand in the cookie jar. I have no idea. Now, this next play is that Caitlin Clark to Aaliyah Boston connection, and what a play. They decided that they wanted to double Caitlin, and this was the most idiotic double team I think I've seen in a while, because you literally leave the roller wide open with a wide open lane. Like, I don't really know what's happening here. Either way, Aaliyah Boston goes to the paint, cuts to the rim. She takes the lane, and she uses her basketball IQ to get to a spot where Caitlin Clark can pass the ball. And Caitlin Clark obviously finds her. Beautiful play by all parties involved. Now, this one is a bad turnover, in my opinion, because I don't know what's happening. I think Caitlin Clark probably thought she got fouled, and by thinking she got fouled, she kind of gave up on the ball. That's what I'm assuming, is she probably did get fouled, but you just don't give up on the ball. But then that is my kind of hypothesis of what happened on the play. That might not be what happened. I don't know why that just happened there, but it ends up leading to a jump ball. So it is what it is. Now, this next play is some more Caitlin Clark to NaLyssa Smith chemistry going on here. If NaLyssa Smith continues going to the paint and using these lanes that are given to her, Caitlin Clark is going to find her, and there's more people on the court. You've seen it in this game. You're seeing it from these clips. More of her teammates are understanding that if they just run the lane, they're going to get the ball, and that is what I like, because Caitlin Clark is an amazing playmaker. People always compare her to Steph Curry, but she's more of a Steve Nash type, in my opinion. If you want to take a player from today, she's more of a Tyrese Halliburton type than she is a Stephen Curry type. So playmaking is her forte. I think she led the country in assists 3 times in college. So you know what? Caitlin Clark is one of those girls that if you run, she's going to find you. So as her teammates learn that if they run, she's going to find them, good things are going to happen. I like it from NaLyssa Smith running the lane, even though she's the one-on-one player. Now, this next turnover is a good turnover in my opinion, and I also think this is just Katie Lou Samuelson not catching the ball. Sure, the pass was a bit high, but the pass, it was in her hands. It was in Katie Lou Samuelson's hands, so she could have caught it. She just didn't catch it. But either way, like I said, that was a good turnover in my opinion. I think they make the right play, and I would like them to make it again in the future. Now, this last assist is another one of NaLyssa Smith running the lane. When NaLyssa Smith runs the lanes, I see good things happen. Good things happen. I know she's the one-on-one player, but if Caitlin Clark has the ball, and guess what? They found her. They gave the ball back to Caitlin Clark on this play. If she has the ball, just run the lane. Just run the lane, because she's going to find you, and we're learning that. And that's the end of the assists and turnovers for Caitlin Clark in this game. And let's get into my main takeaways of the game. So my first takeaway from the game is that off Caitlin Clark's 7 turnovers, 9 points were given to the other team. So you can do with that information what you will. My second takeaway from the game is that if you look at Caitlin Clark's 7 assists, 2 of those assists were to Kelsey Mitchell. 2 of them were to 3-point shooters, being one to Christy Wallace, the other one to Katie Lou Samuelson. 1 was to Aaliyah Boston, and 2 of them were to NaLyssa Smith. Do you know what I really like from this? I like the fact that Caitlin Clark assisted to Kelsey Mitchell 2 times. I really like when they build chemistry. I want Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell to build chemistry, because that is the future of this team. Once Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell build that chemistry, good things are going to happen. Good things are going to happen. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from them too in these past 2 games when it comes to their chemistry. And my last and final takeaway is that in this game, Caitlin Clark had 4 assists in the first quarter. And what you'll notice is that if you remember, Caitlin Clark, they were pushing the pace. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever were pushing the pace the most in the first quarter. So Caitlin Clark had her most assists in the corner where they pushed the pace the most. So do with that information what you will. But what I'm going to do with that information is say, push the pace. Like I talked about in my last video, in White Chocolate's second year in the NBA, he averaged 4 turnovers. Right now, Caitlin Clark is averaging about 5.5 turnovers per game. And even though some of these turnovers can be prevented, and you can look at Caitlin and say, hey, be more careful with the ball, and she'll average 3 a game for the rest of the year, you want her to make those passes, and you want her to try those, because she's such an exceptional floor general that you have to let her experiment a little bit. It's like putting a muzzle on Steve Nash because you don't want him to get any turnovers ever. You don't want to do that. What you want is you want her to make those passes, because eventually she's going to make those passes and there's not going to be any turnovers anymore. And once she gets rid of those turnovers, once she fills out the game, and when she understands her opponent and she understands her teammates more, those passes that are turnovers are going to be generated to assist. And then you're going to have a Caitlin Clark averaging a double-double, right, from assist. So let's be patient and let's let it play out, because eventually this is gonna bear fruit, and the fruit of it is gonna be an amazing mixtape of Caitlin Clark in 10, 15 years time of all her playmaking. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be like a Steve Nash white chocolate mixtape, because that woman can pass the basketball.